Good evening, everyone. We are now live in Onshape users worldwide for How Onshape, a PTC business, leads the SaaS future of business. Inviting you to please do like and share this live stream to win awesome prizes. Don't forget to register. Our registration form is in the event details. We'll be posting the registration form in the comment section. Inviting you to join us in Facebook, Onshape users worldwide. That's our Facebook group, and we are also in LinkedIn. Okay, I'll be giving you a few minutes to register, and we'll see you after 5 minutes. Good evening, everyone. I'll be adding my co-host for tonight, Engineer Jomark Bakiran.
Okay, so once more, good evening, everyone. So for those who are not familiar with me, I'm an EdTech advocate, an active member of Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers, and a STEM or STEAM advocate. Okay, so once more in a few minutes, about to begin on how PTC Onshape leads the SaaS business for the future. Okay, so yep. In addition, we have another guest with us. Okay, so he's the senior director for education and academic program of PTC, joining us in the front row. So, yep, in addition, we encourage everyone to ask questions. We want this live stream to be conversational, so feel free to comment, to ask questions. Let's share knowledge, let's level up. So, yep, once more, good evening, everyone. I would like you to all to welcome and say hi, say magandang gabi to Kamal Batra. Kamal, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? I'm glad to be here tonight with all of you. And it's a privilege to be in the front line or the front stage, near the front stage, and listen from Jordan on how Onshape will define the SaaS future of the business. So, really excited. Thank you, Joe Mark, for having me here.
Yep, I think probably my first question to you or to anyone who's seen Kamal for the first time, can you tell us what do you do exactly with PTC or Onshape?
Well, my role is advocating the education, new wave within the region, which is Asia, Middle East, Africa, Eastern Europe, and Australia, New Zealand. And by that, I mean that it is my job to introduce new products and new learning to the academic world and make sure that the students get the benefit of the best technology, and they are able to learn the best technology and become the better engineers or more qualified engineers in the future.
Yep. So yeah, I've just seen a while ago. Indonesia is currently hammered by the pandemic. How is it in India, by the way?
Well, everybody knows we were really badly hit, but thank God we are recovering and we are recovering well, and hopefully we will be out of it once vaccination takes over.
Okay. Hi, Miss Nelsie. And
Okay, I'll be adding our guest speaker for tonight. Okay, he is the Senior Vice President of PTC Education. Let's say magandang gabi. Magandang gabi to Dr. Jordan Cox.
Magandang gabi. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from Boston.
okay, awesome. So, yep, for those who are not familiar, I think Jordan is also a mechanical engineer. Is that right, Jordan?
That is right. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I used to teach mechanical engineering.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of students right now who are tuned in as well. So I think we are curious to know why mechanical engineer in the first place. Because me, I am trying to recall, my preference was really into music, but my parents told me there's no money with music, and then I have an uncle who's also a mechanical engineer. Why not take mechanical engineering? How about you, Jordan?
Well, it's funny, Joe Mark, because I was into music as well, and but you're absolutely right. It's a lot harder to earn a living in music than it is as an engineer. But mechanical engineering can embrace a lot of different subjects. I remember as I was studying for my doctorate degree at Purdue University, I took a class in vibrations. And at one point, the instructor brought one of the music professors over. And we spent some time talking about how vibrations and music are related. So mechanical engineering is wonderful because it embraces so many different subjects.
Yep, and I'm seeing a lot of other companies who are not their education person is not related to. So we're very happy to know that PTC Onshape, their head of education, is also a mechanical engineer. So yep, how's Boston, by the way, and curious to know how many eons are you with PTC and Onshape, by the way?
Well, Boston is great. It's a little bit rainy. It's been the weather's been kind of rainy for the last few days, but Boston is great. Things are looking good, particularly with respect to the pandemic here in Boston. I have been with PTC for almost 11 years now. Before that, like I said, I was teaching as a professor of mechanical engineering and taught for about 25 years.
Yep, and curious to know who pushed you or inspired you to decide from Brigham up to 2010 to go to PTC.
Well, that's an interesting question, particularly because you would think that most professors remain professors for their entire career. But one of the things that has interested me all along is what I would call education reform, is really looking at improving the education system. And it proved to be challenging as a professor to make any kind of changes to the education system. And the position at PTC offered me an opportunity to really look at leading new methods and new ways to bring the latest technology into the education world. At PTC in the education program, we work with about 15,000 schools worldwide. And as a professor, I would never have the ability to influence that many schools. So this was a big kind of change to jump into private industry, but focused on education. But it's been a wonderful experience these 11 years.
Yeah, and actually for me, for those who are not familiar with Jomar, so when I was still in the corporate world, on my spare time, I usually teach CAD for free as a
Mhm.
means to give back to those persons. Some of them are still alive, some of them are not. As a way of giving back to those help me get into school, and that's why we're currently doing this. And the pandemic actually became a sort of a blessing, actually. I'm sorry
Right.
for some who it became a burden. But during that time, we were manually going to schools to influence them to CAD, and the pandemic actually made us realize that we can reach more being online. So I think that's one of the technologies that you're going to share to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So without further ado, if you have slides, Jordan, take it away. We're on the front seat. So once more, to all participants out there, we highly encourage you to ask questions. Let's make this as a conversation between all of us, sharing knowledge, experiences. Right, Kamal?
Absolutely, Jomark. Really excited to be here and listening from Jordan today, and would love this to be an interactive session so that we all can really learn from each other's experience. So thanks, Jordan, for doing it for us. Thank you.
Yes, very welcome. All right, I will share my screen and begin. So once again, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about Onshape. Just in the way of a little bit of background, as I had mentioned, I was a professor and also an aerospace consultant for about 25 years. And then 11 years ago, came to PTC to be in charge of the education program. So what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about what Onshape is. Most of you are familiar with CAD. Onshape is a CAD system, but Onshape is a very different kind of CAD system. It was built to combine the power of traditional CAD modeling, really with the advantages of modern computing. So it's very similar to Google Docs, Slack, Salesforce, HubSpot, because it fully embraces the cloud platform and cloud computing. And we're going to go into more of the details behind Onshape and allow you to understand what it is and how it's different from other CAD systems. So first of all, Onshape is a professional grade parametric CAD and design collaboration platform. It's the only cloud CAD platform that runs on any modern browser. So that's pretty powerful, that you can do CAD on any platform that runs a browser. So PCs, Macs, Chromebooks, but it also runs on iOS and Android devices. And it's not just a viewer. You have the full capability so that you can edit, make changes, and do all of your CAD design. There's no download, no installation. That's very different. Within 2 minutes, you can be signed up and ready to CAD. Usually with traditional CAD software, you have to download it, install it, license it, and there are all kinds of issues with that. So the other thing is it gives you all of the capabilities that CAD cloud software provides. You can restore to any state. It's got versioning and branching and merging. It never crashes, and many users use it. So before we go any further, let me just stop for a minute and let's define what SaaS is. It's SaaS. It actually stands for Software as a Service. If you look on the left, it says non-SaaS application. Non-SaaS applications are software where the application logic runs on the user's computer. It means that you have to download the software and that the actual logic is running on your own personal computer. But a SaaS application, software as a service, the application logic actually runs in the cloud. And that becomes very powerful because it eliminates all of the IT issues that you normally have with traditional on-prem software. It also allows you to have live collaboration, and we'll talk some more about the live collaboration. But one of the things I want to do to start with is do a quick case study of a company that has switched to Onshape. And this case study will talk a little bit about why they made the switch. So give me just 1 second here.
I'm blessed to be the third owner of what is now an 85-year-old company. And shame on me if I don't do my part to get it to be 100. Dixie Ironworks is a company that's been here since 1933. Current point in our history, we've got one main product line, valves and fittings and things like this, really high pressure equipment that's used in the oil field. We do all of the machining, assembly, pressure testing from right here in Alice, Texas. For the company to continue to thrive, it has to move beyond that first innovation.
So the old way of doing CAD, we had lots of engineering time spent on IT, lots of IT infrastructure.
Expensive software running on expensive hardware, having these large files that sometimes you want more than one person working on, the difficulty of making sure that those are syncing well together.
The pain was well known. We'd been through it for well over 10 years. The more you look at it, the more you realize, do I keep going through this pain, or do I at least try something new? One of our other engineers had heard of Onshape, passed some information on to me. I looked at it. It looked interesting.
I said, man, this is fantastic that engineering software is now being moved forward.
Everyone was thinking the same thing. If this can work, we need to do it.
One of the big benefits is that we've put the power of people being able to solve their own problems. Somebody on the production floor, if they have an idea for a fixture, they can hop into Onshape and start to flesh it out, prototype it.
This part was completely designed in Onshape, the drawings done in Onshape, manufactured on the shop floor using Onshape models, QC using Onshape, start to finish.
It is incredible the degree to which you're able to compress the time scale of bringing innovations to the market.
Made everybody at the company understand that we're not going to keep renewing Solidworks, so that you're going to be using Onshape, and everybody's really embraced it.
We're really heavy CAD users, and Onshape isn't a light program. It's a full CAD program that's on the cloud.
I'm never going to lose any data. It just allows me to add more value to the company and not have as crazy of a day. I couldn't imagine going back to Solidworks today. Too many memories of the pain and things that just don't exist anymore. If we find a tool that can help us meet our goals and become a more agile company, grow our profits, we have to take advantage of that.
Tools like Onshape are part of that progressive, continuous innovation that has to happen at a company that wants to make it to 100 years and beyond.
Okay.
So I guess I have a questions to our participants. So can someone comment down to our participants who have first heard about Onshape? So if you're that person, you've heard Onshape for the first time, can you comment down first? If you're that person who have heard about Onshape for the first time. Yep, going back to you, Jordan.
Oh, thank you. So let me keep going here. Also, I want to make you aware of the fact that there's an industrial survey that Onshape did that talks about the state of product development and hardware design. And that's available on onshape.com. You can look there. Over 1,000 manufacturing companies were surveyed, and a very interesting read if you're looking at where the state of the art is in product development and where product development is going. So one of the most important things is the fact that when you look at design and how design is done in industry, it's done in teams. And most CAD platforms are very individual. Every person has to have their own copy of the software in order to be able to use it. And it really doesn't facilitate team-based design. But Onshape gives you that ability to have live collaboration. So teams can actually all work on the same CAD document at the same time. The other thing that's interesting is that there is a new concept called the gig economy. And the gig economy is all about how individual engineers and contributors are able to come together online and, if you will, create a virtual company that then works on a single project. And when they're done with that project, that company kind of dissolves away and a whole new company comes together to work on a new project. And the gig economy really requires a new kind of CAD platform that facilitates that capability. So what I want to do right now is just a real quick demo. And by demo, what I mean is Nelsie is going to share in the chat a link. And what I want you to do is go to that link and click on the link. And what's going to happen is you're going to have access to this document in Onshape. And the document in Onshape is a Mars rover. So Nelsie, if you can do that, that would be great. I'm going to stop sharing for just a second.
Yep. So I think the link is now shared in the comment section. So encouraging our participants. I think this you'll be surprised to see what the link is all about. Okay.
I'm okay. I should be able to. Let's see, Joe Mark.
Yep. I'm actually sharing my screen right now. So I'm curious to know what that link is. Maybe it will lead me to Mars, but it led me to this, to this vehicle, or as you mentioned a while ago, new Mars rover. So I hope everyone have. Once more, the link is legit. Encouraging everyone to click on that link, and you'll be seeing this awesome vehicle that I am currently navigating and tinkering with right now. Okay, can someone comment down if you've seen if you have access now, if you're seeing this rover? Comment down, rover. You're seeing this model now. And same with me, what I'm currently tinkering now.
So, Joe Mark, I have lost all of my controls, so I may have to drop off and rejoin in order to get the controls back.
No problem, no problem.
Okay, I'll be right back.
And I think this is surprising, Kamal, right? So
incredible. Yeah.
I've heard the S word a while ago, SolidWorks, and I'm sure some of our students right now are familiar with SolidWorks. I have clicked the link, and what you are actually seeing right now is I have opened a sort of SolidWorks model, but of course it's not SolidWorks. What you're seeing is a CAD model inside a web browser.
And it
Once
is
more.
completely developed in Onshape from the
Yeah.
scratch.
So as quick as that, and right, Kamal. It's right. It's right, Kamal. No need for download thing. Just a click of a button.
Absolutely. Just a click of a button, go to the website, log in, and you have all your documents and everything on a click of a button.
Okay, so I'm sure some of you out there are now tinkering. Don't forget, we are
Yeah, I
still
can.
we're still having a live stream here.
I can see a lot of people typing Rover, which means they are able to see that. And Chumak, if you can guide them on which button to click to rotate and so on and so forth, that'll be great.
Yeah, and
Okay,
I'm
so
back. I'm back, Joe Mark. So
Okay,
sorry about
we'll.
that.
Yeah.
Okay,
we're
so I want to just stop for a second and ask you this question: is there any way that I could share a CAD model with you, just like we've done with thousands of people all over the world instantaneously? That's pretty amazing. And that's what really Onshape brings, is the ability to do that kind of sharing. So let's talk a little bit about how it's different from other CAD systems. Traditional on-prem CAD, you have individual software licenses that run on individual computers. But Onshape, it's sort of like there's this great big giant CAD system up in the cloud, and when you connect into Onshape, everybody connects into the same CAD system. It's all secure and private, but you're all just running on the same CAD system. Now, there's another aspect to it called Multitenancy SaaS. And this is where you can take a traditional on-prem CAD system and you can put it in the cloud, but it's still individual. So each individual has their own CAD system that they're running. And you can even get some kind of collaboration going between them, but you're constantly having to figure out how to sync files back and forth. With Onshape actually architected their entire platform in such a way that it doesn't require any of those things. So you're actually part of a team that's working in a CAD system, and in that CAD system, they have pulled apart the web server, the modeling server, the geometry server, and the database. And that's really important, because if you have a lot of people who come on to Onshape at any given time, and let's say a lot of them are just looking at CAD models, then Onshape is able to spin up more servers to take care of web services and modeling services. But if you have a lot of people who are suddenly doing editing and making changes, then they're able to spin up geometry servers. So it allows them to scale very easily and very effectively. The other nice thing is the fact that Onshape has a whole technical team that's managing this CAD system in the cloud. So you don't have to worry about that. They take care of all the revisions. They take care of any kind of technical issues. So Onshape, of course, Onshape's going to crash at certain times, but the way that it's architected, they're able to spin up a new server. So you as the user, you never even know it crashes. And you never lose anything if that does happen. So how does this change the way you work? Well, for onboarding, it's immediate onboarding. Just as fast as you clicked that link to take a look at the Mars rover, that's about how long it takes to get yourself onboarded with Onshape. There are no IT requirements. Now think about that if you're an educator at school. Number one, you don't have to have a CAD lab anymore. Forget about that.
true.
Have your students bring whatever CAD or whatever computer they have, or their iPhone or iPads, and it just runs. It just works. It never crashes because they're always able to manage that. So it's always up, and it provides collaboration. So real quickly in the chat, Why answer this question for me? Name 3 ways that Onshape is different than traditional CAD systems.
Okay, so once more, name 3 ways that Onshape is different from traditional CAD systems. And I think our price for that, can you show us their price, Miss Nelsie? Can you model that out to us? The shirt that you're wearing.
Okay, so to those who will answer the question, we'll be having or we'll be sending you my t-shirt, not my t-shirt, it's the sample. So we'll be sending it to you. And if you're in other country, we'll be sending you or we'll forward you the link for LinkedIn Learning Career Premium and LinkedIn Learning.
Yeah, I can see some nice responses here of it can be, does it require that you download software? It's stored in the cloud, right? And there's even some advanced people here talking about feature script.
Feature scripts, yeah.
Wow.
Feature script is a customized programming language that you can use in Onshape. So there's some people out there who actually have gotten into Onshape and are familiar with it. So that's great. Just in terms of the time that we have left, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. You can keep answering those questions as you go along. So I want to just quickly talk about why Onshape was developed. And I'm going to do that by looking at a timeline here. CAD really started in about 1960s. And then in the 70s, we had 3D wireframe CAD with a bunch of companies you might or might not recognize. In 1985, PTC developed the first parametric solid modeler. And that's what really started PTC up. And that was called Pro Engineer. And then the other CAD companies then developed their own parametric solid modelers. And then along came a company called Solidworks. And Solidworks basically said, CAD is really great, but it requires very expensive hardware. Could we write it and develop it so that it could work on PCs? And Solidworks developed their CAD system to work on PCs, and that completely revolutionized the CAD market. And now, here we are, about 2015, the people who developed Solidworks actually stepped away from that company and decided to revolutionize CAD one more time. And they developed Onshape. So we're really looking at the 3 waves of the CAD evolution: computer graphics, democratization of the PC in 1990s, and then cloud computing in 2010. So these 3 people were the people who developed Solidworks and then stepped away from Solidworks and created Onshape: John Hirschtick, Johnny Mack, and Dave Corcoran. For education, we have 2 different versions of Onshape. We have Education Enterprise and Education Standard. Now, Education Standard is for individual students and educators, and it's free and will always be free. And then Education Enterprise is really developed for schools. So if you're a school and you want to do a large-scale implementation, Education Enterprise is what's for you, and it comes at a fee. So let me go on here. Education Enterprise allows a school to have their own private domain. So whatever your school's name is, that domain becomes thatname.onshape.com. And that allows schools to have things like integration with their single sign-on, action items, data analytics, so you can actually see reports on your students and how much time they spent working on different CAD models. It allows you to do bulk class management, manage your global permissions, and even allows release management workflows. So whether you're a individual student or whether you're an educator or a school administrator, sign up is really easy. You just go to onshape.com/edu and you can get signed up for this in 2 minutes. And like I mentioned, the education standard is free and it's available to students and educators, and it's going to remain free in the future. So I'm going to give you another chance to win some prizes. Here's another couple of questions for you. Name 3 ways that Onshape EDU Enterprise is different from Onshape EDU Standard. And then the second question is Onshape EDU Standard free? So I'll give you a minute to answer those questions.
Someone is requesting for you to show the past slide.
Yeah. Sorry.
That was a good one.
You got to pay attention. All right, let me move on. Go ahead and answer those questions in the chat. So I want to talk about some of the specific differences with Onshape. Most CAD systems, as you know, work with files. But Onshape doesn't work with files. Onshape works with documents. And documents are like little micro databases. I like to think of documents as kind of a container ship, all right? And on this container ship, you can have all kinds of things. And in Onshape, that's the case. You can have part studios where you create parts, and then you can have assemblies where you put those parts together, assemble them. You can have PDFs, you can have images, you can even have files that you import from other CAD systems. And this is what that looks like, all right? So here's a screenshot of an Onshape document. And you can see the tabs down at the bottom. I have an assembly, I have a part studio, another part studio, a drawing, another part studio, another assembly, extra parts, and CAD imports, all within one document. Now that's really powerful, particularly for educators, because as an educator, you can put your entire exercise within one document and then share it with a team of students. And that way you can deliver curriculum to your students in a very, very powerful way. So here you can see I've got a PDF with my instructions for the assignment. I have start parts and auxiliary parts. I have imports and even drawings, and I can put that all in a single document and then assign that out to my students, and my students can then access that document and do their exercise. Here's another example. This is an example of designing an aircraft landing gear, and you can see I can have the instructions, I can have kinematic diagrams, even kinematic validation, all within a document. Very, very powerful capability. So here we go again. I hope you paid attention, because now we have a new opportunity to win a prize. So how are Onshape documents different from regular CAD files? So answer that in the chat for a chance to win some prizes, and I'll move on. So pay attention. PDM and history. So in Onshape, because it's cloud-based, it stores everything you do. So every document has a history, and you can open up that history and it shows you every pick and click that you did within that document. And it allows you to move back in time at any time to make changes, to fix mistakes or other kinds of things. Aha, I gotcha. Now you got another couple of questions here. Do you have to save your work in Onshape? It's a really interesting question. All the other CAD systems, you have to save your work, but do you have to save your work in Onshape? That's a hint. Is it possible to see every operation you made in building a model? 2 questions, 2 opportunities to win some more cool Onshape swag.
Yeah, I'm imagining, Jordan, how it is to be in your class when you were a professor.
Pop quizzes all the time.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to keep going. So part studios, let's talk about what part studios are. So a part studio is sort of like, photography studio. It's a studio. It's a place where you make parts. But the cool thing is you can make multiple parts within a single part studio. Then that's different from a traditional CAD. So here you see a glider, and I can have multiple parts within that part studio, and I can turn those parts on or off so that I can actually design and build them so that they actually mate and match and all their interfaces are correct. Oh, gotcha again. How many parts can you make in a single part studio? These are pretty easy questions, so you got to be able to win something off of these. All right. So collaboration. Let's talk about collaboration. One of the most powerful aspects of Onshape is simultaneous collaboration. That means that you can have as many students or engineers working in the same document. So how does that work? Well, let's talk about just for a minute how I shared the Mars rover with you. In Onshape, I can click this little blue button that says share, and then I can click link sharing. That gives me a link, and then I just post that link, and you're immediately able to access that as a view only. But if you're engineers or students and you're working on my team, I can actually do regular sharing. I put in your email, and then I can indicate what I want you to be able to do, whether I want to let you edit or make comments, etc. And then once I share, you immediately can hop into the model with me. And when you do hop in, I see your icon up in this top part of my screen, and I can then start to follow. So, excuse me, I'm going to start this video. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I'm going to show you here are two people that are working in the same document. So you can see their screens down here below, and they're collaborating together. And this allows multiple people on a team to actually work together in a single CAD document. This is sort of like, you know, gaming, online gaming, where you can have multiple players within a game. It's the same kind of technology. You can now have multiple people all in the same CAD system or a CAD document working. So, of course, you knew this was coming. How many people can you have work on the same CAD document at the same time? And by the way, don't put infinity because you can't have an infinite number. But all right, let's keep going. Assembly. So Onshape gives you a really cool way of doing assembly because they have a simple artificial intelligence capability here that when you have a part and you hover over it with your mouse, Onshape actually analyzes the part and then places what we call mate connectors in places where you could actually connect parts. And so as you're doing your assembly, Onshape's sort of like this artificial intelligent robot behind the scenes, and it's showing you mate connectors. You just click on the mate connectors and parts come together. So really powerful capability within Onshape. Once again, another question. What are mate connectors and how are they used in Onshape? All right, in-context modeling. Onshape also gives you the capability of, if you have an assembly like this Volkswagen Bug here, and you need to edit or design the seats for it, you can do something called in-context modeling. And that means that you can open up a part studio in the context of the assembly and actually do your modeling and have access to all the parts within the assembly when you're actually designing and building those parts. Very, very powerful way of doing design. So let me go quickly through some other features. I know we just have a few minutes and I want you to see kind of all the aspects of Onshape. So Onshape has full drawing capability. It has full surfacing capability. It also is very good at importing and exporting files from other CAD systems. So I'll give you another pop quiz question. What is in-context modeling and how can you use it? All right. For the EDU Enterprise, where you have this Onshape enterprise that's associated with a specific school, you can actually have analytics. And analytics tell you about what your students are doing. So here you can see in this graph, there's some distribution in the work. So it looks like the team's working well. But if you look at this one, in this team, you've got one person who's doing all the work. Yeah, of course, that never happens, right? That you're working in a team and only one person ends up doing all the work. That happens all the time. And so as an educator, you can actually see that. You can go back through and you can actually even identify, oh, this student actually made a copy of another student's work. So that's a really powerful capability. And I'll give you another question. Another opportunity to win something is, why would you use analytics? Why would analytics be a powerful thing for you? I've got about 1 minute left, and so I'm going to kind of jump through here really quick. The Onshape standard is free. So as a student, you can sign up for Onshape free, and you can use that independent of what class you're in. So you could actually use that as your CAD platform all the way through your schooling. There are learning opportunities because there's online classes in the Learning Center. And there are also certifications. So I'm going to jump past this one, and I'm just going to give a sneak peek of what's coming. So Onshape does revs and rolls new capabilities into Onshape every 3 weeks, and they do it behind the scenes so you never know. So you're always on the latest rev. One of the things that's coming this year is full simulation. So you'll be able to do stress analysis and other kinds of simulation. Full rendering is coming, so you'll be able to do photorealistic rendering as well. The thing I want to end on is just PTC's vision of SaaS and where SaaS is going. So Onshape is this wonderful in the cloud online SaaS platform that allows you to do CAD. But it actually allows you to do a lot more because you can now start to connect to IoT software and augmented reality software like ThingWorx and Vuforia. Now, this is the kind of thing that industries are doing and that PTC is really focused on, is giving people the ability to do digital twins. And I'll show you real quickly. Here's an example of a digital twin. On the left, that's augmented reality. On the right, that's the actual robot. So you can see the actual robot is picking and placing, and at the same time, you've got in this case, in Onshape, you have a model of your robot, and that model is doing everything that the physical robot's doing. So they get connected, they become digital twins, and that digital twin capability is really powerful. And that's really where things are going. So with that, I'm gonna jump on. I'll show you one more real quickly. Here's a robot you see on the desk. And here you see the Onshape model of the robot, and the person is actually moving the robot in Onshape, and then the physical robot follows it. That's really powerful because you can imagine you can program the whole robot within Onshape, something that makes it a whole lot easier to do the programming and management. So with that, I'm going to stop. And final question, what was your favorite part of this webinar? With that, I'll hand it back to Jomar.
I think the most difficult question is this: is what's your favorite part of this webinar? So once more, yep, what's your favorite part of this webinar? We'll be giving away shirts and certification exams for Onshape once more. If mechanical engineers, like in the Philippines, has a sort of a board exam for you to be recognized as a registered mechanical engineer, we do have that one as well with regards to Onshape. So I have not yet taken that exam, curious to know, but yeah, we're giving away those exam vouchers absolutely free to those who have participated and hopefully answered the right question. So while waiting for a few minutes, Miss Delcy is consolidating the questions which were given earlier to you, Jordan, and to you, Kamal. Let me play a quick video, and for you guys, for us to give you a quick, I think, bladder or water break. So allow
Okay.
Nelsie. Okay, so once more, we're encouraging everyone to ask questions, to comment down. So we'll also be giving prizes, swags to those who will be asking questions. So, what's the first question, probably coming from you, Miss Nelsie?
Okay, my question, no, to Engineer Jordan, no, what is his one practical advice that he would give to someone starting out?
Okay, very interesting question. What is the advice I give to someone just starting out? I think I would say a couple of things. First of all, always be curious and willing to investigate. The technologies of today, particularly the cloud technologies, are really powerful, and it's one of those things where if you're always curious and always exploring, it will lead you down a path where you'll have a very rewarding career. Engineering can be a difficult subject to study. There's lots of math, lots of physics, and difficult courses to go through. And sometimes you just have to really be tough and hang in there and go through those courses, because it's a very rewarding professional career in the end. So I think, one, always be curious, always be looking into new things and new technologies. And second, you just got to persevere. You got to keep hanging in there all the way through.
Okay, so Ms. Delcy, any other questions?
Let's get questions from our audience.
I think I have here, I think this goes to Kamal. What is one piece of practical advice you would give to someone, not necessarily an engineer, or to someone who's starting their career out?
I think the biggest advice that I would give to anyone who is starting a career is that your learning doesn't end when your job starts. Your real learning starts when your job starts. So when you are getting into the career, and learning is a unending process, so you continue to learn, you continue to innovate, you continue to reinvent yourself, probably every year. Given the current situation and the way industry is moving, there will be a need to reinvent yourself every year to stay abreast with the technological changes. So that will be my practical advice, I would say.
Okay. Okay, it's a question for Paul Balondo, just to clarify things. Now, is there like a minimum requirements to run Onshape on browser?
Yeah, it's a great answer. I'll be happy to answer that. It's a really great question. Certainly, there are some requirements in terms of your computer platform that you're using, whether it's a PC or a Mac or Chromebook. but we have found that even on old Chromebooks, we're able to run Onshape very, very well. So the requirements are quite low. The basic manipulation of the geometry, so the rotations and zooming in and out, etc., happen typically by the GPU, the graphics processor, on your machine. But it's nothing like the requirements that traditional CAD systems have, where you have to have a really powerful computer and you got to have a lot of memory and everything else. That's another thing that's really powerful about Onshape, is since everything is stored in the cloud, you don't have to worry about how much memory you've got on your device. And that's one of the reasons that you can access Onshape in using your phone and do the regular editing. In fact, one of the things that's been interesting is we hear from educators that they're finding that their students are doing their CAD homework on the bus. They're sitting there with their phones and doing their CAD homework on the bus, which who'd have thought, that you could do your engineering homework on the bus as you're going home from school.
Okay, so I think this question goes out to both of you as well, Kamal and Jordan. So probably let's start with Kamal. What career mistake has given you the biggest lesson?
Well, my practical advice came from a career mistake where I stopped learning and got lagged behind. So I would say that was the biggest lesson, and that is what I share with everyone who's starting in their career, that never feel comfortable in your current role or current responsibility or the current learning that you have, because that will end one day. You need to continuously update yourself and stay abreast with the industry. So that was the career mistake I made, and that was the lesson. And now I keep telling everyone, saying, please do that so that you don't have to learn from that mistake. You can make your own mistakes.
How about you, Jordan?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think about when I first made the switch as a professor to PTC. One of the things that we were working on was FIRST Robotics. If you're familiar with FIRST Robotics, teams of high school and middle school students design and build robots. And when I was first introduced to it, I thought, there's no way that students in middle school and high school can design and build robots, because they haven't had all the courses for engineering. And I totally underestimated their capability. And when I got in and saw what they were doing, it just kind of blew my mind. I thought, oh my gosh, I've underestimated the capability of students and young people and their ability to design and solve really tough problems. So I would say, don't underestimate the up and coming generation. They're a lot more creative and capable than you think.
Okay, question from Santalingam C. How many attempts can be made for student certification?
Oh, that's a good question. So when you get a voucher, so let's say that you were really clever, you were listening on this broadcast and you won a voucher. That allows you to take the exam one time. So you can take the exam as many times as you want, but typically it comes with a fee. Oftentimes what will happen is there are classes out there that help prepare you to take the certification exam. And a lot of students will go and take those classes first, so that they're ready then to go through and do the exam.
Okay. Okay, from Angeline Dionisio, is mechanical design your first choice in your career path?
when I started at the university, I really didn't even know what an engineer was, and I think that's pretty common that a lot of high school students just aren't familiar with the professional careers out there. And so I actually started as a pre-med student, and I took a medical technology course. And in that course, we had a lab class, and we had to take blood and do all kinds of tests and everything. And we went on a field trip to a hospital, and the teacher took us into the pathology department, and she was showing us all these different people who were doing research on deadly diseases. And she made the comment, this is a place where if you're not careful, you take home what you're working on. And that was it. I said, okay, I'm out of this. I've got to find a new career path. But I had always, since I was a small boy, I had always been pulling things apart and putting things back together. And so at that point, I started looking for a new major at the university, and I stumbled upon CAD, computer-aided design. It was just the early kind of years of computer-aided design. And the minute I saw it, I thought, this is for me. And really stuck with it ever since, and it's been a wonderful career.
Okay, from Kurt Calvin De Castro, mechanical engineering is a broad engineering field. How can mechanical engineers keep up with different computer-related degrees, such as software engineers, IT, in the CAD industry?
That is an excellent question, Kurt. You ought to get a prize for that one. That's kind of the biggest issue, is the fact that mechanical engineering, it used to be that mechanical engineering could kind of stand alone because what we dealt with was just hardware. We would design and build hardware that, kind of fit together and work. But today, particularly in this SaaS world of cloud computing, hardware is not just hardware. In fact, most of the value in a product is in the software and the software capabilities. And so the hardware is kind of what brings that value out. So as a mechanical engineer, you must be familiar with software in the software world. And it is very difficult because mechanical engineering degrees require so many courses, and typically those courses don't have a lot of software in it. So one of the things that I recommend to students is, while you're taking your degree program at a university, that you look for online certification opportunities that you can do kind of in parallel to your regular degree program. So you can become certified in various different software languages or other kinds of IoT, AR kinds of technologies, and get those certifications. Put in the time to get those certifications. That'll help you stay on top of what's happening in the software world while you're learning to be a mechanical engineer.
Yep, and I think let me reiterate that as well. So for those who are not familiar, I am also a mechanical engineer. So right now, Jordan and Kamal, I'm also taking up masters in IT. So
Wow.
there's an understanding there that for us mechanical engineers, old forms of engineering, right? So the world is simply heading to ABC. ABC, and you have to keep up with the technology. Everything is being run by computers. So what I mentioned earlier about ABC, this is the one they're telling that for any business or career, business specifically, to be successful, you have to adapt ABC in your business, which is artificial intelligence, Yep, it can be connected with mechanical engineering, right, Jordan?
Right. Mhm.
B for blockchain, and C for cloud computing. So again, maybe probably some of you got confused. Cloud, SaaS, actually that's synonymous, right, Jordan, to each other, cloud
Right.
and SaaS.
Yep. Yes, correct.
Yes, indeed. And in fact, as we say in PTC, the physical and digital, they are like yin and yang, and they can't survive without each other, which means you need to have your good hold on digital technologies to really absorb or develop physical hardware, which means you need to know IT, programming, and everything else, and keep updating yourself on that. And that's very essential, I must say.
Yep. And I think this is the last question going to Jordan. So you've been with the PTC for more than a decade, I guess. Probably, how do you inspire? Where does your passion come from?
Yeah, that's another good question. So I would say there are two sources for my passion. The first is you. It's students. We work with over 1 million students worldwide, and I'm always inspired by what you come up with, your creativity. I mean, it's just incredible to see the things that students are designing in Onshape, and some of the cool new technologies that students are connecting together with CAD and augmented reality and IoT. That is very inspiring. But, you know, I've always loved CAD. I always love the visual aspect of CAD. It's a form of art. And I know, Joe Mark, you were saying that, you know, you were into music, but your family was saying, yeah, that's great, but it's not going to help you provide for your family. And I think about the fact that still there's a love of that art, love for music in your case, and certainly a love for art in my case. And CAD is a way of actually doing both. You get to do engineering and the professional career, but there's an aspect of art that also kind of inspires me and keeps me going.
Yep. Hoping to have my own CNC and build those guitars.
That would be great.
Yeah, I can send you one case study on that, Joe Mark, as well. Because PTC really works with a couple of guitar companies.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think, Nelsie, do we have a final question?
Yeah, final question from Anna Cruciel. What is the best quote that you can give to all aspiring mechanical engineers students?
Just off the top of my head, I would echo what Kamal said. Never stop learning.
Okay, from Kamal.
I think,
That was
yeah,
That's
That-
actually from Kamal.
no, I think I've been, in learning industry for last 25 years, and that is what, is, I would say, at core of every growth and every progress that society has seen. So learning is really important. And again, I would say never ever stop learning. Keep finding opportunities to learn. And with SaaS and everything, the things are available on your mobile phone, tablet, while you're traveling or doing anything. So continue to learn on a continuous basis, and make sure that you are at the cutting edge of technology.
All right, that's also a good question. Is Onshape CAD applicable to high school student?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not just high school students, but middle school students and even elementary students. We run a program called Starbase for 5th grade students. These are students that are only in their 5th year of schooling, and they use Onshape. So Onshape's available for any student at any age.
Yep, and to those who are also curious, to all educators out there, so this is one actually our mission for with regards to this live stream is, yeah, we're here and committed to bring to inspire students to STEM with CAD, specifically Onshape. So if you have questions or inquiries on how we can bring CAD, appreciation of CAD, leading to appreciation to STEM. So we're actually here to help you out to bring in Onshape and CAD into the classroom and hopefully inspire once more, inspire young ones to take up STEM related professions in the near future. And of course, not only for the young ones, this is a professional grade software, right, Kamal? Not only for the young ones.
No. Our customers are using it, and we have thousands of commercial customers who wow by it Onshape. So, it's pretty much the heavy duty CAD that you can even imagine and need for your commercial implementation.
Okay, so it's a wrap. Once more, thank you so much, Kamal, Jordan. We hope to do this again. Definitely, because every year there's a new set of students and they need to hear your message as well. So not the replay of live stream, not the live stream replay, but of course, definitely we bring in students by thousands. So hoping we get to hear from you again. So once more, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd be very, very happy to come back. So salamat and goodbye.
Thank you. Salamat.
Hoping you can visit Philippines in the near future.
Looking forward to. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
so once more, thank you so much. Bye, Kamal.
Thank you.
Bye, Jordan.
Bye-bye. Bye.
If you can organize an Onshape or CAD training with Onshape, feel free to message us. We'll be happy to cooperate and coordinate with you guys. So if you have invited us to train your students, which is absolutely free, by the way. So, yeah, we'll be giving away swags on that as well. So, I think Miss Nelsie is showing right now our YouTube channel. Okay, so please click the reminder on for you to be reminded of our upcoming live stream training. Can you flash that out, Miss Nelsie, once more and click the upcoming training?